Some secrets are too big to stay hidden forever, and in Downton Abbey, everyone learns that sooner or later, what goes around comes around. Behind the elegant gowns, glittering chandeliers, and grand estate, schemes are hatched, lies are whispered, and people are watching, waiting for the moment when karma will strike. There's something deeply satisfying about seeing the arrogant humbled, the schemers outwitted, and justice quietly served in ways you never expected. Today, we'll explore some of the most satisfying comeuppances in Downton Abbey, moments where characters finally get exactly what they deserve, and the audience can't help but smile. In the world of Downton Abbey, there is no shortage of characters who think they can manipulate others to get what they want. But one character in particular, whose charm often masked selfishness, thought they were untouchable. Every glance, every smile, and every word was calculated to make others bend to their will. They spread rumors in the halls, undermined allies in secret, and acted as if the estate was theirs to command. Yet, while they were busy plotting, the people around them quietly noticed the cracks in their plan. The clever twists of fate were set in motion, almost unnoticed, but completely unstoppable. The moment of reckoning begins subtly. Maybe it's a letter left on a desk, a small slip in judgment, or a carefully overheard conversation. These small moments, seemingly insignificant, build tension that the audience can feel. Slowly, the schemer's power starts to slip. Allies turn distant, plans unravel. The very people they tried to control now have the upper hand. The estate, with all its elegance and grandeur, becomes a stage where their downfall is played out. And the beauty of it lies not in dramatic confrontation, but in the quiet, almost poetic justice of it all. Downton Abbey excels at showing that comeuppances aren't always loud or flashy. They can be subtle, precise, and perfectly timed. Our schemer might still try to save face, to spin the story in their favor, but every action only tightens the noose. A misplaced word, a wrongly addressed note, or a trusted confidant turning away can shift the balance. The audience feels a mixture of suspense and anticipation, knowing that the moment of payoff is near. The satisfaction comes not just from the schemer's embarrassment, but from the inevitability of justice finally catching up with them. And then comes the moment when it all clicks. The schemer faces the consequences, whether through social embarrassment, a loss of respect, or a plan collapsing in the most ironic way. Every manipulation, every whispered plot, every sly smile boomerangs back. It's a slow, satisfying burn, and for the audience, it's a moment of pure delight. Watching someone who believed they were untouchable, finally humbled, reminds us that in Downton Abbey, as in life, no one escapes the consequences of their actions forever. In Downton Abbey, not every character with power is obvious. Sometimes the quietest, most overlooked individuals, the servants in the kitchens, the footmen who go unnoticed, or the timid housemaids, hold the sharpest insight. While the grand halls buzz with gossip and schemes, these underdogs watch, listen, and remember every slight, every unfair word, and every betrayal. They see the arrogant treat others poorly, the manipulative attempt to climb higher, and the selfish ambitions that blind people to simple truths. And when the right moment arrives, the underdog steps into the spotlight, not with fanfare, but with precision. One of the most satisfying moments in Downton Abbey is when someone underestimated finally has their chance to shine. And the result is both surprising and perfect. Imagine a servant constantly dismissed, quietly noticing the patterns of deception. They might leave a small note, misplace a crucial item, or simply reveal a truth at exactly the right moment. The consequences ripple upward, and suddenly, those who thought they were untouchable realize they've been outmaneuvered by someone they never even considered a threat. The payoff is subtle yet powerful, a whisper of justice echoing through the grand rooms of Downton. What makes these moments so rewarding is the contrast. The audience has been waiting for it, rooting for the underdog, while the arrogant remain oblivious. There's a thrill in watching the underestimated character claim their victory without needing dramatic confrontation. Every sly smile, every carefully timed revelation, every small act that exposes arrogance or hypocrisy feels like the universe itself is correcting the imbalance. In Downton Abbey, justice doesn't always roar, it sometimes tiptoes, leaving only a stunned silence in its wake. And yet, the impact is undeniable. The arrogant face, the embarrassment, the manipulator feels their plans crumble, and the audience can't help but cheer quietly for the quiet hero. This type of comeuppance reminds us that cleverness, patience, and awareness can be just as powerful as wealth, status, or charm. Downton Abbey shows that sometimes the smallest voice carries the loudest message. Every action has a consequence. And even those who seem invisible can deliver the most satisfying justice of all. In Downton Abbey, pride often precedes the fall, and no one illustrates this better than those who believe themselves untouchable. These characters walk the halls with confidence, their heads held high, convinced that wealth, charm, or status will protect them from any consequence. They scheme boldly, flaunt their influence, and manipulate situations, never considering that the very traits they rely on, arrogance and overconfidence, can become their undoing. And Downton has a way of turning their own hubris against them in the most satisfying ways. The brilliance of these comeuppances is in their irony. Imagine someone meticulously planning a social coup, thinking each move is clever and foolproof. They smile knowingly at their rivals, whisper behind doors, and feel certain that their victories are inevitable. Yet, in a twist that is almost poetic, their own behavior sets the stage for their fall. A careless remark, a misjudged alliance, or a misplaced document can unravel everything. The audience senses it coming long before the character does, creating a delicious tension that is both suspenseful and thrilling. Every smug glance, every sly comment, every act of self-assuredness inches them closer to their own downfall. What makes this kind of comeuppance especially satisfying is the timing. It rarely happens with loud confrontation or dramatic explosions. Instead, it is subtle, precise, and almost inevitable. Perhaps a rival quietly exposes their duplicity at the perfect moment, or a trusted confidant quietly turns against them. Maybe a secret they thought buried forever slips into the wrong hands. Downton Abbey revels in these ironies, allowing the audience to watch the arrogant stumble not because of others' power, but because of their own flaws. Pride, once their armor, becomes the weapon that pierces their reputation. And in that moment of revelation, the satisfaction is unmatched. The audience experiences the perfect mix of shock and delight, seeing someone who thought they were above reproach humbled in front of peers, subordinates, or even in the quiet corners of the estate. It's a reminder that confidence without caution can be dangerous, and in the world of Downton Abbey, arrogance is a trap waiting to be sprung. Watching this carefully orchestrated poetic justice unfold is not just entertaining, it's deeply gratifying. It proves that in a house of elegance and etiquette, pride truly comes before a fall. Downton Abbey is more than just a grand estate filled with gossip and luxury. It's a stage where every action, no matter how small, has a consequence. By now, we've seen schemers fall, underdogs rise, and the arrogant humbled by their own pride. Each of these moments shares a common thread. Justice doesn't always announce itself with a loud crash. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it waits patiently, allowing the world to reveal the truth on its own timeline. And the most satisfying comeuppances are the ones that arrive with that quiet, inevitable certainty. There's a special thrill in watching karma unfold slowly. It's not about immediate punishment. It's about balance being restored in ways that feel natural and deserved. A servant quietly exposing a lie, a minor character finally earning recognition, or a manipulator realizing their schemes have backfired. These are the moments that linger long after the scene ends. The audience feels a sense of completion, like a puzzle perfectly solved, where every piece falls into place exactly as it should. Downton Abbey understands that the most powerful justice isn't always the loudest, it's the one that makes the viewers nod in quiet approval, knowing the characters got exactly what they deserved. These comeuppances also reflect the deeper truths of human behavior. Pride, greed, and manipulation may offer short-term gains, but they are always vulnerable to exposure. Patience, integrity, and clever observation, often embodied by those underestimated or overlooked, can shift the balance in unexpected ways. The estate, with its elegant corridors and majestic halls, becomes more than a backdrop. It's a silent witness to morality in action. Watching these lessons unfold reminds the audience that in life, as in Downton Abbey, no one escapes the consequences of their choices forever. Finally, the beauty of these moments is in their universality. Viewers can see themselves in the quiet victories of the underdog, the clever reversals of fortune, and the poetic justice that humbles the arrogant. Downton Abbey doesn't just entertain, it offers a mirror, reflecting the satisfying truth that actions have consequences, and that sometimes justice is most fulfilling when it arrives without fanfare, but with perfect timing. In the world of the grand estate, every whispered secret, every sly glance, and every quiet act of truth serves as a reminder. comeuppance is inevitable, and the satisfaction of witnessing it is timeless. Sometimes, the most satisfying comeuppances in Downton Abbey don't come from careful planning or clever observation, they come from fate itself, bending in ways that are equal parts ironic and poetic. The characters who seem untouchable, the ones who manipulate, scheme, and charm their way through life, often find that their own actions set the stage for an outcome they never imagined. And when that twist arrives, it's more than justice, it's a perfect narrative echo that leaves the audience both shocked and delighted. Imagine a character who has climbed social ladders with cunning and confidence, believing that the world will always bend to their will. Every word they speak, every alliance they form, and every slight they deliver is calculated. Yet, life has a way of turning even the most carefully laid plans into a trap. Perhaps a secret they buried deep finally surfaces at a dinner party, or a decision they thought trivial suddenly unravels everything they hold dear. The elegance of Downton Abbey is that these moments are never forced, they feel earned, organic, and completely inevitable. And watching their smug expression fade into surprise or embarrassment is a moment of pure satisfaction. What makes these twists so uniquely gratifying is how unexpected they are. The audience may suspect consequences, but the exact way they unfold is often delightfully ironic. A manipulator might lose influence not because someone else directly confronts them, but because their own hubris leads them to misjudge a situation, ignore a warning, or underestimate a seemingly insignificant character. These poetic reversals remind viewers that in Downton Abbey, no amount of charm, wealth, or cunning can truly shield a person from the consequences of their choices. And perhaps the most powerful aspect of this type of comeuppance is the emotional payoff. It's not just about punishment, it's about closure. The wrongs are righted, the sly characters are humbled, and the audience feels a sense of narrative justice. Even those who seemed invincible are reminded that life has a rhythm, a balance, and that sometimes the universe itself delivers the perfect twist. In the world of Downton Abbey, poetry isn't only found in music or literature, it's found in justice served in the most unexpected, satisfying, and unforgettable ways. In the halls of Downton Abbey, every whisper, every glance, every small gesture carries weight. By the time the dust settles on the schemers, the underdogs, and the arrogant, the estate itself seems to exhale, as if acknowledging the balance that has been restored. These moments of comeuppance leave more than embarrassment or defeat, they leave echoes. They remind us that no action exists in isolation, and that the consequences of our choices will ripple through the lives of others, often in ways we cannot predict. This is the quiet brilliance of Downton Abbey. Justice is rarely immediate, but when it arrives, it resonates deeply. The true satisfaction lies not in dramatic spectacle, but in subtlety and timing. A careless remark finally exposed, a secret revealed at the perfect moment, or the smallest act of cunning from an overlooked character can overturn years of manipulation and deceit. The audience feels a mix of relief, excitement, and awe, witnessing the universe or perhaps the estate itself righting wrongs in ways that are perfectly fitting for each character. It's not just about punishment. It's about the harmony that comes from seeing fairness restored. A reminder that in life, as in Downton Abbey, everything eventually finds its place. What makes these moments enduring is the universality of their lessons. Pride, deceit, and selfish ambition may give the illusion of power, but patience, insight, and integrity often wield the greatest strength. From the grand lady of the manor to the quiet footman in the kitchen, each person plays a role in the invisible web of consequences. And when justice is served, it does so with elegance, irony, and a sense of inevitability that leaves the audience quietly satisfied. There is a rhythm to it all, a moral cadence that repeats throughout the estate. The choices we make, the secrets we hide, and the words we speak will always echo. And those echoes can be profoundly satisfying. Finally, the appeal of these comeuppances is timeless. Even for viewers unfamiliar with every twist and turn of the Abbey, the stories resonate because they reflect a truth we all recognize: actions have consequences, and fairness, though sometimes delayed, is inevitable. Watching the schemers falter, the underdogs rise, and the arrogant humbled is more than entertainment. It's a reminder that life's quiet balance is always at work, that the smallest act can tip the scales, and that the sweetest justice is often the one that unfolds in silence, with perfect timing, leaving us with the lasting satisfaction of knowing that, in the end, the story, like life itself, has been made whole. Every grand estate has its secrets, And every character, no matter how cunning or charming, faces the truth sooner or later. In Downton Abbey, the most memorable moments aren't the lavish parties or glittering gowns, they're the times when justice quietly finds its mark. From the schemers who overplayed their hand, to the underdogs who cleverly turned the tables, to the arrogant, humbled by their own pride, each story leaves a lasting impression. Every choice matters, every action carries weight, and karma always finds a way to balance the scales. The beauty of these comeuppances is in their subtlety. The Abbey teaches us that justice doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's a whispered revelation, a misstep at the wrong moment, or a small act of cleverness from the most unexpected person. Watching these moments unfold is deeply satisfying because they feel earned natural consequences of human behavior, perfectly timed and often ironic. For viewers, it's a reminder that patience, observation, and integrity can triumph over manipulation and deceit. And yet, there's more than just satisfaction, there's reflection. Downton Abbey reminds us that life itself is a delicate web of actions and consequences. Even those who seem untouchable are not immune to the results of their choices. The quiet victories of the underestimated and the ironic falls of the overconfident echo far beyond the estate's grand walls, resonating with anyone who has ever witnessed or experienced life's balancing act. These stories linger in the mind, a testament to the power of poetic justice and the timeless appeal of watching right triumph over wrong. So, as we close the door on these tales of clever reversals, whispered truths, and perfectly timed consequences, we're left with one undeniable truth. In Downton Abbey, karma isn't just a concept, it's a character of its own, shaping destinies, humbling the arrogant, and rewarding the patient. And that, perhaps, is the most satisfying drama of all. Which of these comeuppances left you smiling, shocked, or quietly cheering? Reflect, share, and let the echoes of Downton's justice continue to resonate long after the last scene fades.